notebook writing interview with you. So we'll see you in 5.
listening to WBHM, Digital Broadcasting, The best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
And I have to tell you that I absolutely love those stingers. We have some of the best in the business. I love it. So, Jim, are you there? I hear you giggling, so you're back.
I decided I'm not doing the second part of the show. An hour is just enough for everybody. You're just going to have to get used to that.
Well, that's why I said, when we scheduled the first time, are you good for the 2 hours? Because it's a long time.
It is. It's different. I've done shows that were 3 hours. Well, part of, a couple guests, and I really, 3 hours is just about all I can take sitting in one place, not without doing something drastic. So 2 hours is okay.
Well, I'm glad that it is, because you're one of my favorite people to talk to. That first interview was so amazing, and nobody heard it. It was just so frustrating. But
that's okay, though. We've all been there.
Well, now I'm good, because we're back. When I'm not sure where we left off, because I realized that it was the 8 o'clock hour. I think that we were getting ready to move on to a new topic, but you have a question in chat, and I hate when I get asked this because it puts you on the spot, but I'm going to do it to you. And it's, who is your favorite interview?
Well, it would start defining favorite, though, because, favorite person overall, favorite interview as in favorite show content from the interview. Mm-hmm. Because that does change the question. Favorite person to talk to? Well, that's like picking your favorite child, but
true.
I guess I could say this. Well, he may not be necessarily my favorite person, because I'm not going to tell you I don't have a favorite person. Favorite person, well, one of my favorite people to talk to is the psychic lawyer, Mark Anthony. And he was guest number 12, I think it was, or somewhere early in the history of the show. And we struck up like I said, I've talked to him 7 or 8 times on my show since then. So he's probably, I guess by volume, he'd be my favorite guest if we had to start with that.
Right.
So, and it's funny because, again, I don't want to say he's one of those people that comes on trying to sell a book, but normally he has a book or something that he's trying to sell. And you go back and listen to the course of those interviews, and yes, I will give him the sell, but I will also get him talking about some things that I don't want to say he doesn't want to talk about, but if he were to script it, he probably wouldn't be talking about. So, which is good. I'm glad he indulges me into that, lawyer talk and legal issues and just some random other things. So, it's amazing where we can end up.
Yes.
Paranormal starts. So that Mark is definitely that. And the funny thing is, he's the paranormal psychic, the psychic lawyer. Never had a reading from him. Never asked for one. Never wanted one.
Well, I have gotten readings that I didn't ask for. And that's disconcerting.
Well, it's more, here's a behind the curtain moment. I had a medium begging to be on my show, and I said, okay, we'll do that. And then they begged to call me before the show, because they wanted to give me a free reading, and I said, why don't you just do it live on the air? You can just, I don't have much to hide, and we just won't talk about my kids, and that's about it. That's about all that's off limits with me when it comes to my show. I'm not going to talk about my kids. My wife's been on the show a couple times. Actually got me fired from a network. Also cost me Audible.com. Yeah. But anyway, we can talk about that here in a minute. Let's stay at the psychic story, and then we can get into my wife here in a minute. So she calls, and I invite my wife back to listen. I have a headphone splitter on my desk, and I plug her in and tell her just to listen, just because, when you're hearing these things, you know what I'm saying. It's hard to be objective. But if you have another set of ears listening to it, I'm recording it too because I want to go back. I figured I'll have to go back and listen to it and slow down. Because I kick into interview mode all the time. It drives my wife crazy. Like, I'll start asking doctors weird questions just because. Not necessarily paranormal questions, but questions about things that are relevant but not, anyways, it drives her nuts. More on her again in a little bit. But this psychic starts telling me about my 4 kids and this, that, and the other. How great how great everything is, and how great everything is with the show, and on down the line. Well, and then she hangs up, and my wife looks at me and she says, "None of that is right, is it?" Because she was saying, "Oh, the FM syndication that you're doing is lovely, and it's going to keep growing." I'm like, "Nope, not done." And wasn't on any FM stations at the time. I mean, serious stuff that you could, go to my website and find out. Bad. And I only have 2 kids. So that was, everything.
Wow.
Everything was.
That is just wow.
So, okay.
Was she doing readings on your show too?
Well, this was before she was on.
Right.
Now, I don't let psychics do readings on my show.
Good.
This is another inside behind the curtain moment. I've had guests, or Snorri is one. Open the phone lines up, Jimmy. Let them talk. I have nothing to hide. George, I've only got you for an hour or 45 minutes or whatever it is. I prefer to do the talking. They can call you on your show.
Right. That's funny.
So, and there's a number of other people. Anytime you want, I'll just take live calls. I'm like, okay, but I prefer to be in. I don't want to say I'm a control freak, but yeah, maybe I am.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a control freak, said one. So
yeah, and I do live calls myself. So I mean, if they want to call in and interact with me, that's fine. But if they don't, whatever.
Right.
Also, we were talking about telling stories with my wife. Okay. So it was our anniversary. Must have been 4 or 5 years ago. I was on a network that will ring the bell. There, I said it without saying it, and anybody who knows the story of all that will understand this story. And I had my wife. My grandmother was in the hospital failing. She died a couple days later. So I had my wife on as my guest because, again, here I am. In that moment of, I need to do a show, even though I don't want to do a show.
Right.
Because in my mind, if I don't do a show this week, and she did pass that weekend, I'm not doing a show the following week. So there's 2 weeks off, and my joke is take 2 weeks off and quit, because that's how the old axiom goes. So I needed to fill that gap, but I ultimately, wasn't booking guests because I wasn't sure how it was going to fall, and I didn't want to, cancel on somebody. So anyway, so it was our anniversary, and I'm like, okay, so bring my wife on. What could go wrong?
Okay, well, I'm already up to speed.
So let's back up to the previous time she was on. The last time she was on my show, I had Audible.com. Great company. They sponsor a number of podcasts. They have a great product. Nothing wrong with that. But they were sponsoring my show at this particular moment. I do my read. Go to Audible.com. Enter promo code Malliard. Get your free 30 days. However they worded it, they had it all figured out. And she's sitting in the room right beside me. So how do you like Audible.com? No, it sucks.
Oh, gracious.
And when you're part of these corporate sponsored packages, you have to send the timestamps in the show where the promo was, so they can validate that you actually delivered the, So I send it, and a few hours later, I was disassociated from the Audible.com program.
Oh, my goodness.
And they paid me for the couple shows that I did, and the few, the few clicks that I got, and that was it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I lost a lot of money, but I still tease her about that from time to time. We'll be driving somewhere, and I'll be like, so how do you like Audible.com? And,